Oh my God, Juan, we are doing this right now.
We are on
Po-
it.
Podcast. All right, so we have been running coaching sessions for quite a while now, and I think that this the topic of today's podcast, flow state routines, sums up a lot of the things that we have seen without revealing all of the secrets. And while Juan is gonna do some data entry, you guys are not gonna be able to see it because it's still under construction, but you're still gonna get the main gist of what we have seen. So um, I'm in love with the flow states. I was in love with it, especially when I was a BMX rider, because I felt like I was losing track of time and of space. I was in my bubble. There was nothing else existing at that time. And eventually, I became more familiar with the terms and the theory, and I practiced a lot. So I started mastering a lot of that behavior in other spheres of life. Um, so what we're seeing today are flow state routines, and basically, you can see your routine as an activating mechanism that uh, gets you from 0 to 100, if you want to see it that way, from a car perspective. So a flow state routine is based with a bunch of um, physical elements, mental elements, which it could be music, it could be a set of specific actions that someone is performing, it could be a bunch uh, of garments, of clothes that you are wearing that are telling you exactly what is gonna happen next. So you pretty much in a flow state routine line up and stack all of your flow triggers in combination with a set of actions in a specific order, which lead you gradually up there until you can cruise in the flow state. So that would be the first stage. Usually uh, would be stage number one is struggle. So you define the nature of your challenge. It gets you alert. It gets you focused. And I also call it warm up because when you're used to do something, it's gonna feel more like you just warming up, as in going for a training session. Then you coast for a specific timeline, and then at the end to complete the flow state cycle, we go into recovery mode because this is very demanding. So the mind and the body have to relax. So um, to cover like the general theory around it, that would that would that would sum it up. Sorry, a bit of a lapse here, but um, now I'm gonna let Juan speak because he's El Juan from Colombia and
Yeah.
he's a BMX rider. So I would like you to do a short introduction. Um, we already know where you come from, but a bit of your story to put us in context, and also where you're aiming at. You're going to a competition, so I'm gonna let you speak right now about yourself and where you're going with this.
Well, my name is Juan Niebles. I'm a BMX flatland rider, professional, I would say. I do competitions and performances around the world. So I've been doing the program with Jason, which has been amazing. Like for me, it's been like I never knew about like this flow state happened before, but I knew there was something happening there, you know. So it's like like the feelings of being in the flow state, but you don't know how you get there usually. Because like, well, in my case, it's like I never pay attention to it. I knew there was something happening when I was riding, for example, when I was doing like my training sessions, or like sometimes when I was competing. At some point you get to this level of like super focused time, but I never knew how to get there. What was the process to get there, how to use the tools that I usually use, how to recognize all these steps that goes through that process. And well, for me, the program is just it's been helping me to realize what are those steps before I get to the point of like flow state and 100% focus and take advantages of like whatever I'm doing at the moment. And well, we've been running the programs for a while, and I've been learning a lot. It's been helping me with like many things in my life, because I was like, I thought I was organized, but I was never organized. So it was just many things happening at the same time. So the program is helping me to organize a bit whatever thing I need to do in my during my day, to program my day. And well, recently I'm gonna go to Abu Dhabi for this competition, the World Championships, UCI
That's
World
it, man.
Championships. And I've been putting on practice what we've been doing with Jason, all these steps, and I'm realizing that well, that I used to do it, but I never, yeah, as I said before, I never put the thought in it and like organize myself before the session, or organize myself before the contest, and like be aware of like my environment, and put that into like this single task, which is 3 minutes in one competitions, and you gotta put yourself mentally and physically during these 3 minutes. So it's like all this work, you go 3 minutes there, and that's you gotta do. So it's been amazing. I've been preparing myself physically and mentally for this. So thank you, Mr. Jason, for all the knowledge.
Yo, man, that's my pleasure. Thanks for spending this time and energy to working on this. Like, it's still the testing is still testing time, so we're going through the material together. But I'm seeing a lot of potential in it, and I appreciate your dedication with that and putting in the work. So, um, to resume a bit of like what he spoke about is like whereas systemizing, not sure if that's a word, but let's create this one if it's not. So we're stacking everything on paper, and then we're programming, so it means that we're creating a set of concrete actions in a specific order that he is implementing to build a behavior, and also like condition himself, because like he said, he only has 3 minutes to qualify. Like, for people who do not compete and do not have an idea, this is extremely stressful, because now you're traveling to another country, most probably jet lag. You don't know how it's going to go nutrition wise. You have to develop like a whole bunch of tactics regarding that. And you have 3 minutes to make a mark, qualify, and move on to the next step. And once you move on to the next step, you only have, usually, if you're not battling, there are two formats. You're going to have 3 minutes to display your skills once again, and that's it. Sometimes you're lucky, you have two runs. So if the first run doesn't go well, you have a second chance, but usually it doesn't. So you need to be prepared. And this is what we're doing right now with the flow state routines. We're maximizing, and he's also rehearsing. I encourage him to build the routine and rehearse it every single time, so it becomes a reflex and a second nature. When he shows up there, he's primed up. And what I'm doing right now with you today, Juan, I've done with JF and also Joris um, in the past. And yeah, man, it's like something that has to be rehearsed, and that becomes automatic. So that being said, we can explore what you have first, because you had the challenges this week of building your routine. So I'm gonna go through like a set of questions, like I go during a session. So I'm gonna do live coaching, if you will, and then after that, I'm gonna speak about what I used to do and the priming effects it used to have, because it is super strong. And this is kind of like an oversight on what happens when you combine all of the elements of the flow state. So um, let's start off with, we had, okay, once again, to put people in context, when we show up to a contest, sometimes we have a practice floor available. Usually we can practice in groups for maybe 10, 15 minutes, but sometimes we do not have access to a practice floor, and this can be super nerve wracking. And if you are cold and stressed, this is the worst kind of environment for performances. So we're gonna explore that. So let's start with pre-contest routine with a bike. So I would like you to tell me uh, the elements that you have gathered uh, regarding um, what are you gonna listen to, what is the set of actions that you're gonna perform. Are you visualizing, or sorry, not visualizing, but are you meditating? Are you doing joint rotations? What is the set of action that you perform under what kind of music, for instance, before contest practice?
Well, yeah. So basically, uh, I start everything even before I'm traveling there, right?
Yeah,
So like once I'm on the plane, I'm like changing totally my mindset, and it's like one of the main things I do is like we usually complain about like the conditions and like all the problems, and we find all the problems. Like for example, when we travel, it's like, well, different bed, different food and everything. We gotta cancel that in our heads, like
yeah,
mentally we gotta be prepared of like, okay, whatever condition it is, I'm gonna be able to overcome this condition and not be, no, I don't want to be a victim of this condition,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Right? That's it. I start usually from there, because like, well, you're going to another country. If you are really really far, like let's say South America, when you fly from South America to Asia, it's a long, long, long trip. Usually it can be like 40 hours, 35 hours trip with the layovers and all that. So like starting from there, if you start comparing with other people that are closer, you're losing already. So
yeah,
like if you mentally put yourself in that condition, it's like, oh yeah, I'm more tired than this other rider because I'm farther, and this and that. We're losing already, right? So starting from there, I do that usually when I'm already on the plane. It's okay. I gotta close my mind. I'm like, this is what I have to do, and this is what I have to deal with. So for me, what I do um, during the training days, well, this one is special because it's like it goes by the UCI rules.
yeah,
So you have 2 or 3 days before the competition starts, so you have some time to like adjust yourself to the weather and like whatever is in this country, and then you gotta do all this registration process, because usually in the other competitions it's only 1 day or 2 days. You go straight up, you compete, and you're out. This one
yeah,
is a little bit longer, the process is a little bit longer, so you gotta do qualification. If you make it to the semifinals, you do semifinals, and then if you make it to the finals, you do finals. So it's 3 days of competitions, and it's a tough task for your body.
yeah, yeah.
And
Super demanding.
yeah, super demanding and physically and mentally, and you're already like pressing yourself mentally of like pushing and this and that
Yeah,
during the training
a lot,
process.
man.
So it's like you gotta chill over there.
Yeah,
Because my mistake back in the days was that okay, I'll go to the competition and like straight up go practice and go 100% during practice. So when
yeah,
my run was gonna happen, my energy was already drained. Like I had no energy and my body was just failing down. Like, so I was just like making this big mistake of like going really high on practice, is like, of like, oh yeah, 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 well, I gotta dial the tricks, and like, well, the tricks have to be dialed before you go to competitions. You
yeah,
just go there to perform, basically. So that was my mistake back in the days. I found that few years ago, so I changed that. So my process for example, during the contest day, uh I wake up early in the morning, take my coffee, drink my coffee, do my routine. And usually I stretch in the morning, like a good stretch, like 20, 30 minutes, taking my time, no rush. And I make sure I wake up early to like be on time to the whatever schedule the competition have.
Yeah.
So I do stretches, and then I try to take if I'm sharing hotel with someone, I try to be alone at least 30 minutes in the morning. It's like to give myself some time alone, and like I either sometimes I try to meditate, which I'm getting better now because I've been doing it. But like usually, or just a time to be quiet and just think about the day, and like how is it gonna go, or like how am I gonna answer to whatever situation comes. Just time for yourself, just to be quiet and like spend time with yourself and like be calm to
Yeah.
start the day calm. Not like, oh yeah, I got a contest today and like you gotta rush and this and that. Just time for yourself. That's what I usually do. And then after that, I make sure I have everything I'm gonna need for the day, starting from clothes, uh, everything I need for my bike. If you see your bike and you see like your tire is looking bad, or they're like something is wrong with your bike, bring a spare like tubes. If you have a tire, bring a tire with you. Everything you need for the bike, also whatever you need for yourself. Make sure you bring water. Like I usually make sure I go to the contest and I don't need to go buy water or whatever, or like snacks to
Yeah.
be to be to be prepared during the day, because sometimes, because you're in the rush of the competition, you're seeing your friends, you haven't seen this guy in a long time, you start talking with people, and then you do practice, and then you keep talking with people, riders that you haven't seen in a while, and then you forget about eating, you forget about drinking water, you forget about all these little things that at the end of the day is gonna affect your body, and it's gonna affect them. It's gonna do something of like them related to your power, to your energy of the day. So it
Yeah.
starts from there. So I make sure I bring everything with me for the day. So once I get there, depends on the schedule. Once I get to the competition, depends on the schedule. I stretch, or I either just talk with people. Right before riding, I make sure I do a good stretch again, to like start moving my body and like make the blood flows. You know, And
Yeah.
then usually on these competitions, you have it depends. It depends how organized it is, but like usually you have like certain time. They put you in groups and they give you some time. So they give
Yeah.
you time to ride, to have enough time to get used to the floor, to the conditions, and then yeah. So I make sure I stretch before that, and I drink enough water, and then once I'm riding, practicing at the stage, I make sure I don't go crazy. I don't go crazy straight up sending the combos. You need to make sure your body is already proper. It's warm up before you ride. So usually I start doing some turbines. Playing here and there and feeling the floor, seeing where is because there is never a perfect floor. So you gotta find which one are the unbalanced areas of the floor, and like this and that. How is the grip of the floor? If you're a rider, flatland rider, you know how it goes. So I make sure I don't go crazy, starting with like the sending the combos straight up. I take my time to like warm up the flatland muscles, and then do the combos several times. I try to do my combos of the run at least two times, 2 times, 3 times, 3 times each combo, and then I found like which one is the one that I'm struggling the most, with the floor or whatever, and then I find like I try to like adjust myself to the floor and this and that.
Yeah.
So then after that, um if it's just practice day, because sometimes they give you like one day to just practice. So like if it's just practice day, and then I just chill the rest of the day, stretch again, and make sure I eat well, make sure I drink enough water, and then get ready for the next day. So after that, that's like, well, that's when you have when I have the possibility to have the bike with me. So like when it's contest day, proper contest day, the day of your run, you have the time of warming up is shorter usually. So you know already what you have to do. You know that you won't have time to like be super warm up. If you are like in a group of 5 people, they're gonna give you 15 to 20 minutes to practice, to warm up, which it turns in like 3 tries every rider. So you gotta
And
make sure. Yeah.
and in comparison, sorry if I interrupt. What is usually like your timeline now? Because I haven't competed in a while for qualifications practices. Just to put people into perspective.
Yeah, well, usually because this one is UCI, some they usually they give you time to warm up before each group,
Yeah.
if they like if everything is organized on the schedule. So
Okay.
they give you time before, let's say they have 10 groups. They cannot send the 10 groups straight up without warming up. So basically what they do is like they send by groups. Okay, the first group have 15 minutes or 10 minutes to
Okay.
warm up. Then they send it one after one. Because if for example you are in the last group and they just send you straight up to ride, it's like that is it doesn't make sense. So they give you some time to like move or something like that. If they don't, well, you gotta find a way to warm up by yourself.
Yeah. So I just wanted to gain like some insights regarding that to see like what was the average warming up time because uh, at other contests which are not on the world circuit, sometimes you'll have like the whole practice day and you have to be smart with your energy use because then you have like 2 or 3 hours and some people are just gonna bust all their combos and they're just gonna go into a jam session with other people and then when it's time for qualifications, they're drained and they ride like shit, or they gas out because they don't have enough energy and they don't
Mm,
qualify, or they they end up spending too much energy on the first day, and when it's time for qualifications next day, it can impact their
yeah.
performances. And I wanted to say that as well, so people can become more time aware and find like the optimal range. If you always have 15 minutes, then you know that before your group is coming um to warm up, then you're gonna start maybe like listening to your music, getting in your bubble, retiring a little bit depending on what your style
Yeah.
is. So yeah, you can please keep going. So we've seen your qualif routine. What happens during final? Is there anything that is different in that aspect?
Well, final, like if I make it to finals, usually I have like my normal routine, but then I have like an extra thing to put there, like the spicy trick to put there.
Yeah.
Just like to make it different, if you want to have like good results, you gotta have like for me in my concept is like you gotta have a different like a little like adding something to the routine that you already used, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
for qualification. So if you make it to finals and like, but finals is already like, okay, finals. So finals is 8 riders, right? So like the time the schedule it changed, because it changed. It's totally different from qualifications, because qualification have, I don't know, 50 riders. So the schedule is longer, the waiting time is longer. but finals is different, and also it puts you in a different mindset.
Yep.
In a different mindset, it puts more pressure on you. So like you gotta make sure your water level are okay, your sugar level are okay, you
Yep.
know because that's really important sometimes. Like if we are really stressed and like, yeah, we gotta like you gotta realize in the morning, like usually in the morning before the day starts, you gotta find out like, okay, what's the schedule for today, and then you gotta organize everything in your head, because like you could organize everything, but then you go there and you forgot, you know maybe you start talking with someone and you start hanging out with someone, and then you forget the mission that you have to do,
Yep.
right? And then
Yep.
you forget that, like, okay, right before, for example, in my case, I really make sure, and I've done that before. I make sure that like my breathing rhythm is good, because if you start like before you start your run and your breathing is out of control, you're gone. Your
Yep.
run is gone. Your
Yep.
body is like, because once you start missing oxygen on your body, it's just gonna fall down. Like your muscles are gonna start like feeling even more tired. Like that's when you start shaking and you get nervous. It's like, why am I shaking if I'm doing everything good? Like because you're
Yeah,
missing
chicken legs,
oxygen.
man.
Yeah, because you're missing oxygen, so you're forgetting how to breathe. And
Yep.
you have to keep in mind during the 3 minutes that you have to keep breathing. Even if you fail a trick, you have to take your time and keep breathing, because or else you won't be able to recover from failing a trick or failing a combo. Because if you fail a combo, it's like your brain is like, fuck, I just fucked up. I made a mistake, but you cannot forget how to breathe. You need to breathe properly. So like, well, basically, you gotta change it if you make it to finals. Like, well, in a world champion, I have never been in the finals.
Hmm.
I've been into semifinals, but like it's complicated. It's complicated because like, well, I like last one I competed in world champion UCI World Championships was in China in 2019. It's
Yep.
been a while, and I've done other competitions, but well, I don't know if they still with the same schedule. I think they still like with the same kind of like schedule, like warming up for like by groups and this and that, which is the thing. I think it makes more sense. So like for me, I would say that like follow your plan. you know
Yep.
you gotta follow your plan, because if you don't have a plan, if you go freestyle, and like some people go freestyle, or you that's what you think. That's what we think, but like we all work in a different way, and
Yep.
we
Yep.
all and we all have different formulas, like, well, I'm opening myself, because I don't mind, if someone, because like I'm totally different from someone else, but like if someone can take something from me and make it work for them, it's perfect.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We're all different in that aspect. And like, even if you open up right now and you share some of the things that you do, it doesn't even mean that it's going to be relevant to someone else. So we're sharing this right now as like flow routines, as principle, the flow state principles embodied. Like some people might find elements from what you do or from what I'm going to describe as well, and integrate them into their own routines. But ultimately there's no like one fits all routine. It's all tailored, and that's why I love doing what I do, because we all bring different recipes. Like I'm giving you tools, but eventually like you become independent. So that's the crux of what we're doing here. So I'm just gonna resume and tell you something in relationship to that. So the first thing that we have seen, and I really like that you develop that, is your morning contest routine. There's a name for that also in the flow literature, if you want to call it that way, which could be termed the domino effect routine. I coined it like this. They call it domino effect because basically this is what sets everything in motion. So you're not just randomly waking up and waiting for things to happen. Like you said, you wake up early, you prepare, you do your stretches, you like to spend 30 minutes alone to ground yourself, to compose yourself, you get everything ready, gears, food, bike, so you don't have to think about that. You relinquish that, you leave that behind. You know you can head to the riding spot, and then that is fixed. So alignment and preparation for that. Then qualifications, routine, stretching before riding, uh, and you ride in a group setting. You pace yourself. You go for easy basic tricks, turbines. I won't go into the details of turbines because it might be pretty complex. But anyways, this is made intended to get a good blood flow going so you don't injure yourself. You feel the bike, you feel the floor, you're patient, and then uh, you make sure you're well hydrated throughout the practice or before that, and you do 2-3 rounds of combos maximum, and this is your landmark. You do this, and you're gonna get pretty much a good overview of how it's gonna go for the day, because sometimes, despite all of the practice, uh, you get a feel that, yeah, you feel you're either feeling it, or sometimes it's just not happening. But it's good to know a bit ahead of time, so you can kind of mentally prepare. Like, if you feel like you have a super good flow and everything just falling into place, then all the best for you. But sometimes it can be more challenging, so this is a good way to feel everything out. Now, for finals, you were saying, um 15 20 minutes warm up. Now you have 8 riders, so it's a different kind of energy as well, different kind of setup. You might have to ride like way earlier because now you don't have to go through a whole list. Then you have your spicy tricks, so you have to gear up for that as well. And then you mentioned something that I really love is breath awareness or breathing exercises. So you compose yourself, you make sure that you lower your stress levels, that you stay calm, and that you focus on execution, and then you calm your mind so you're not going into like hyper stress mode. And if your breath is stuck before starting, then, like you said, you're not starting the right way at all, and you might gas out like way faster because you're spending energy being nervous, and you're already like breathing faster. So not a good use of oxygen. um, if I can say something about this, would be that you create, for example, pre-contest routine with bike should be exactly the same, whether you're going for qualifications or finals, even if your trick set is different. So that's the only remark I would say, because then you don't have to rethink about a different routine. Although, if you have like a very, 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 very special ritual that you must absolutely do before finals, by all means, do it. But from personal experience, I would run the same thing, because the mindset is still the same. It's execution. When you show up on contest day, you like you trigger that mindset for the you prime your mind and your body for the contest. But ultimately, like, it's only about execution. So there shouldn't well it shouldn't impact you more that you ride in finals, because the delivery is the same. I don't know if this is clear for you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I mean with that is that, well, finals, you've been there, like for example in this one, like UCI is 3 days. You've been there 2 days, so like basically, well, you prepare, you usually prepare your body for like whatever action comes, right?
Yep.
So like
Sure.
it's the same, like for me, like I would do the same as I was doing the other days. It's just that like the schedule is just different, it's
Okay.
different, and like you mentally prepare for like a different schedule, but you're gonna do the same thing. It's like a shorter schedule, but you're gonna, but well, that's what I do. I okay, it's like different schedule, shorter, time is different. I don't have to be that early to the contest venue, so I get more time to rest at the hotel, it properly,
Okay.
like don't go to the contest straight up really early. It's like you don't need to be there super early, for example, like
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, you take
yep,
more time to, like, that's what I do.
yep.
You take more time, and like that's what I'm seeing. Like some riders, they do that as well. Is like, okay, today is final, I make it to the finals, or like qualies, or like what time is gonna be is different. It's different timing. It start different hours, so you have more time. You chill. You rest better. You stay longer in bed if you want to stay longer in bed. Like stuff like that. Like
Okay, okay.
you
I
change.
I I understand what you mean. So I got it wrong because I thought you were doing like a bit of a different like routine versus now what you're talking is more about like your daily programming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So your timeline, your schedule is a bit changed, but the set of things that you do for qualifications and finals is the same.
It's the same. Like if
Okay,
I make it
perfect.
to the finals, for example, in a contest like this, wow, I'm gonna send everything I have. Like I'll do the run I have prepared, but then I'll give like a little of like space to send the spicy one if I have time to do it.
Yeah,
To add
perfect.
this little surprise there.
Yeah, 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 for sure, and it's pretty customary as well. Like as a tactic of, for instance, the way I used to do it for qualifications, I would still try to implement like the same tricks that I would do in finals, but I would just break things down. So the goal is to score. So you'll break combos into long combos into shorter ones, and you just pull tricks. And you want to make sure it's difficult enough that you pass, but not excessively hard unless you really really want to push it. I know that some Japanese guys are throwing extreme
Yeah,
bangers like since
massive
like
combo.
from day one. Like it's Dragon Ball, it's
Yeah,
a Dragon Ball TV show or something. But most people will show up and have like a preset qualification routine with less demanding tricks or like a breakdown of what you'll do in finals. But then in finals everything goes, it's like everything put together. It's like the hardest thing you can conceive and that you've also rehearsed, um,
yeah,
in order to display and like incorporating spicy tricks like special signature tricks, the hardest signature stuff that you can pull, and then you see. And
yeah. Well, in my,
sometimes,
in my case, I've been trying to like, because I have like different, like, I don't know if they're super original tricks, but like those are the tricks. Because I can do many many tricks,
yeah,
but like, oh, maybe maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm not, but like for what I want is that I want to put myself with these tricks that I've been working on, like I know I can do like short combos and like kind of like middle difficult style of combos, but I don't want to do those ones. I want to do the ones I've been working. I want to be like, if someone is gonna remember for something, it's gonna be, oh yeah, well, those are his tricks. Like not originals, but like that's the way he writes. You know,
yeah,
because some people, I've seen some people that like they change the plan. Is like, okay, well, they see the list and like, okay, well, they play their cards different. So like me, I don't like to do that though. Like making, well, but it's a way to play the game as well. Like you go there and like you land like easy combos, but then if the other riders land really hard combos and you land like a perfect run with easy combos, you're out.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
out. It's like, you need to know how to play it properly. And like I've done mistakes like that in the past, like okay, I want to go so hard with my run that like that at some point I land half of my run, but then the other half is it's I'm done. My body is done, and like everything just fall down, and like my breathing and everything, even if I'm prepared, like it happened before, but it's because I'm going really really hard. I'm like, and maybe I was not prepared for it, or maybe I was not like, like it contest is just like, it's not a bet. I wouldn't say it's a bet, but is that your body needs to, you have to adjust yourself mentally and physically for whatever it comes.
yeah,
That's the main thing. If you are able to do that, I think you're gonna be able to like overcome different situations you find during the contest, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk taking behavior. It can seem like outright gambling, but you're not like outright gambling in the sense that you're just showing up and like whatever happens, just if you're rolling some dices. I mean, you're preparing. I would call it more like calculated risk taking. But we all been there, man. Like you can rehearse for a whole month before a contest and suck, man. The worst. You show up and nothing works. So you're taking a risk every time you're showing up at a contest, and this is why it's good to have uh, a flow state routine, know how you function, know how you can help yourself when you show up, because you're riding under pressure, you're riding under a whole bunch of other conditions. So you got to make sure that you're ready and you offer like the best circumstances to yourself to perform at your best under those harsh conditions. And the more you practice, then the easier it comes. But yeah, there's always that element, man. No
Yeah.
matter how long you've been writing, it's always there. So it's definitely part of risk taking. Okay, so before we move on to the contest routine without a bike, I want to know. I know that you love listening to music. We've been talking a lot about this during our sessions. What do you listen to when you warm up versus when you are writing during your session? Is there a difference to you? Because there used to be one for me in between what you listen to just to warm up to get like in a smooth groove, do the blood flow thing, and then when you step on the stage and it's time to crush it, what do you listen to?
Well, that's like when I'm training back home or when I'm in the contest, basically.
When you're writing at the contest,
At the
so
contest,
what do you prepare for yourself pre-contest wise when you're at the spot and you warm up, and what is different if so during the contest run?
well, it depends though, because like if the warming up day, it's a free warming up day for everybody, you know, or like, but I think because I'm not pretty sure the schedule's gotta be somewhere. I need to check it out. There's gotta be somewhere on the UCI website. But like, if I'm riding with, it depends with, because I also like to feel the environment of around the contest.
Okay.
You know, I like like the music and like, you know, to have an idea where I'm standing right now. You know, where I'm rolling, and
Yeah.
like you know like the energies. I'm like me. I like to feel energies. I'm like I go with the energies and as well. So I like, it's not that like I don't feel the same energies when I'm listening to music, but I wanna be aware of like with the sounds and everything, you know, with the natural sounds of the contest. So
Yeah.
like, if it's like a free session for riders or something like that, or if it's like 2 hours for one group of 15 people or something like that, I'll do a session without music, you
Okay.
know.
All right.
You know, and like session without music, talking with people sometimes, you know, finding or just being by myself. It depends. But like on the during the contest time, I have like, I would say it's like 8 songs that are like, most of the time they're like electronic or techno music or like this kind of music,
Yeah.
but they're like different rhythms. So I
Okay.
start playing the same. It's like I usually have like 8 or 7 songs, and I start playing the same, and I start playing the same. It's rare when I don't ride my run without music, but sometimes I feel I want to do it. You know,
Okay.
sometimes I feel like I could get focused without music, so I do it. But like usually I'm with my music, and I make sure I have headphones with the blocking thing, you know, the cancellation sound,
Yeah.
and it's like just the music. Because sometimes, man, sometimes the speakers, not hating on speakers or MCs, and like, but like it's too much, you know. So you don't want that thing getting to your head. So like music, you just play music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. I've seen like that's one of the reason why I'm asking you. And I would encourage people to bring their own music and also not depend on the DJ, because sometimes, man, the DJ is just messing up with your track before the contest, and there's nothing more insulting to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a
It's like,
rider. It happened in Belgium. I think, who was it? I'm not sure if it was Dez or someone else, but you can see like, or Moya, whatever, you can see it's impacting. I've been there too, and at that moment I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing this again. I'm
yeah,
always wearing earbuds, and I'm going with my music. I don't care how
yeah,
loud
how
it
it
is
works
outside. I
out
always
there,
have
you
this.
know.
I'm not a victim of
Yeah, like for example, you're
circumstances.
ready. You're ready. You're like your body is on online, right? Like your
Yeah,
everything is set up. Your bike is super ready as well. Your tires are good. You know, like you make sure your pegs are tight. The caps of your pegs are tight. Everything is tight, and your breathing rhythm is perfect. So you're waiting for the DJ to play your song, and he's taking 1 minute. It's gonna fuck up
this
your
is the
fucking rhythm.
worst.
You know, it's gonna fuck up your rhythm because you're like you're waiting 1 minute when you were ready to go 1 minute before. So it's like some people they handle it different, you know. But like me, I like to have control on my stuff. You know, like okay, my music, Juan, go. You press play and you go,
Yeah,
and that's it.
you're
And like you
ready.
don't listen to nobody, and like you know like usually do that like, and I start getting in when it does. I start playing this playlist during my solo time in the contest, you know, when
Yeah,
I like okay, I gotta focus, I gotta visualize, and I'm with my music, I'm stretching, I'm moving, you know, I'm making sure my blood is flowing in my body and everything, and then go from there. And then at some point I found the sun. I find the sun, and I go with that song. That this is the song. It's not that this is the song I wanted like to do before, because usually I know like some people they prepare their run with a song.
yeah, 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 for
Yeah,
sure. But you already, from the way you speak, you already have like a preset of tracks that
yeah,
are gonna do the job, and you just start like listening to a few ones, and then you lock into a certain vibe. You're like, that's the one, and then you just go.
yeah,
But it's already accessible for you. Like,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
this is good to know.
It's
Uh,
already a playlist that I have there, and it says contest playlist, and that's it.
Perfect. Perfect, dude. I love this. So everyone, I invite everyone to do the same as well. Preset, if it's a mix or a specific track or a certain type of music, make sure that it's ready, available, that your phone is charged or your MP3, whatever, if it still exists.
Yeah,
Your MP3 reader is ready. Your earbuds are ready. Noise
everything is
canceling.
charged.
So yeah, and then you can have access to your track and not depend on the DJ or anything. If that's the case, some people don't mind. I do. I find it extremely distracting. When it's time to go, it's time to go. All right, so now we have seen with a bike. Can you quickly give us an idea of what happens when you don't have a bike? Because it can be extremely disturbing, to be like, you're cold and you know you have to go ride, and then you have all of these
Yeah.
thoughts coming up. You're nervous. So what happens when you do not have access to a bike?
Well, for me, the weather conditions plays a good part on that, right? So like let's say you have your warming up time, the competition started, everybody have to put their bikes on the side, and like usually you don't have a warming up area beside the stage, you know, because some contests that were not they're not official contests, they
Hmm.
have two areas for riders, you know, like
Yep.
the contest area and warming up area, which is the best, you know, to give like 100% performance of the athletes. But like they don't do it, and like I don't know why, but it's we gotta deal with it. So like man, I make sure I keep moving, you know, I keep moving all the time, stretching. You sometimes I bring a jump rope with me, and like
Yeah.
and then I start jumping around, you know, or like moving, moving. You don't wanna, well, you don't wanna do push-ups because it's gonna make you tired. You know, if you go crazy and like then you do 100 push-ups, fuck, your arms are gonna be dead for your run. You know, so like
Hmm.
make sure for me, I make sure that I'm on my bubble, focus, keep my body warm up, and uh, my breathing rhythm. You know, like you don't want, and like usually I don't know, like some people, I check some people runs. You know, like my friends usually. You know, but like for example, someone wants you to film the run. It's like, oh my god, it's
Yeah, yeah, it's an
it, it, it
extra task,
yeah, it's
unnecessary extra task.
yeah, it's like, well, fuck. Well, it's complicated, you know, because you don't want to say no, but then it's like you want to say no, but you don't want to say no, you know. But
Yeah,
then, well, it's complicated that one.
you
Some,
don't want anything to interfere at that time.
yeah, it
Basically, you're
depends.
warming
It
up,
depends.
man. So leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It depends because if it's like a like two groups after like before me,
Yep.
the guy is like, well, two groups before me. It's like, okay, I'll do it, you know, because I'm not there yet. Like I'm not there in my bubble 2 hours before my run, you know, like it's not worth it.
Hmm.
I do it like 15 minutes before my run, you know, to
Yep.
like keep my body warm up and like, you know, and keep the blood flowing and everything.
Yep.
But if it's like two groups or three groups before my run, I'll do it. You know, like, okay, give me the phone. What do you want? This and that. Give me your camera. I'll take some pictures. And
Hmm.
like, even myself, even for me, you know, I take some pictures. But like, I usually do that during the warming up day. You know, like, okay, let's take some clips and this and that, because you don't want to be dealing with that, taking some clips on the qualification day when you're like super stressed. You know, it's like fuck.
No,
Um,
but it's
um,
just extra work,
yeah,
man, that
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
need. Or
yeah.
you bring a tripod, and you leave the phone alone, or you find ways not to think about it, or not to think about other people, because you gotta devote all your energy and attention
Yeah.
to what you came up for your mission.
Yeah, what I would say is like, and that's what I learned with the program we've been working on, is like we have to be aware of everything, every single thing we do, you know, in the during the contest day, or during like a task you want to be 100% focused, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
Well.
sometimes we do, what I learn is like I've done some of the process, you know, like, okay, I do this before the contest. I do get some time for me. But I was never aware of it, you know. So it's like being aware of everything is the best you can do to like perform and make clear your head differently, you know, like easier.
Yeah, it's also a good, like, you take notes of how you function, you take notes of what you want to do, and you rehearse it. So you bring awareness and you condition, so you're already primed. So you relinquish a lot of what we do with the flow state, and a lot of what helps people just perform way better is to relinquish the overthinking. You don't want to be burdened by a bunch of thoughts and have to review, like, or rethink about what you have to do during contest time. That day is about execution. So you should come already prepared, and you want to devote a maximum of energy for that execution, to the accomplishment of your mission, so that it can be successful, right? Like, no one wants to show up and lose. Everyone wants to show up and win and have the best results. And these are the steps that you need to take in order to devote a maximum of energy to what matters the most. Now, if it's cold and you need to stay warm, what are your gears? You wear a beanie, a hoodie? Do you tuck, like, your socks over your pants? What do you do when
Well, it
when it's
depends on
cold,
the
man?
weather, though. It depends on the weather. If it's a warm weather, you don't need a hoodie to like keep warm, you know.
Yeah,
Like, for example, I have a problem. It's like when it's sunny and the sun is really strong,
yeah.
I need to make sure that my neck is covered.
All right.
Whatever, my body, my arms, they can be out like touching the sun if they want, but my neck needs to be covered because it's really sensitive.
Yep.
So if I stay 10 minutes on the sun and my neck is out there like receiving the sun, taking the sun, it's gonna burn my neck, the skin of my neck, and it's gonna be itchy all day, and it's gonna like annoy me all day. So like that's one of the things I make sure that don't happen to me. But like if it's a warm weather, you're okay, but like you gotta make sure, like you gotta find a way to keep your body warm, because all bodies work a different way, like some people you look at them, it's like, man, this guy he doesn't move a muscle, like he doesn't move a muscle, he's just go and straight up sending the tricks, me,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a big body, man, like big muscles. I need to keep moving my body because once it gets cold, it gets cold, like
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
like, for example, Ben, man. When I was looking at Ben, it's like Ben, he was so chill and like this and that, and like he do his thing, and but he doesn't keep. Sometimes he's stressing, right? But like you don't see Ben stressing like all the time, He's like relaxed and like, but he's a different mind than mine, like.
Yeah, it all boils down to self knowledge, like how
Mhm.
your body functions and everything. I'm super impressed also by people who can just get out there and they don't need to do much. They don't seem to be really tense before a contest, and they just hop on the bike and whatever. But it doesn't work with me like this at all.
Yeah.
The complete opposite. One last thing, what do you reaffirm or do you visualize before a contest? What is it that you like to tell yourself to prime yourself when you cannot touch the bike, to prevent for like focusing on negative scenarios or stressing?
I would say when I'm not able to touch the bike, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I
Because
would
usually,
say,
like, if you're on your bike, like you're busy. But if you just like with yourself, sometimes you can have intrusive thoughts, and it can be
yeah,
quite
like I would say
a struggle.
visualization all the time, like for example, if you are in the contest and you're not grabbing the bike at all, like visualize,
Yep.
like, and don't overthink. Sometimes we make mistakes and we overthink way too much, like if you go to a contest and you've been training and you are aware of like you've been training for this for like a month or couple months, you know that you're not going to a contest to land a combo that you land every 20 minutes, right?
Yep.
Or 30 minutes. You go to a contest when you're able to land your combo whenever you want to land it,
Yep. Yep.
it's either, well, it can sometimes happens, like they like we all have moments where when we're like in the contest and you fall apart. We've seen it, like the new generation of riders like Yuka Tagiri, like you think like he's a machine and like he's like really into it, but then there you some contests he just fall apart as well, like you don't know what's happening in his head, and like something just falls down,
Yep.
like
Yep.
me, I visualize, but I don't overthink. I don't overthink because like that's the worst you can do. Overthinking on like, oh yeah, you think I'm oh man, I wasn't able to, like, for example, if you didn't have a good warming up run or something like that, or warming up time, don't stay with that in your head, because
Yep.
that is gonna damage your confidence, like if you had 15 minutes to warm up with a group of 5 people and you had three tries and you didn't land one of the combos you were trying, don't stay with that, don't stay with that, because you like that destroys your confidence. You go with a confidence from your house, from your riding spot to this other country, to this competition. You're confident with your combos, but then 30 minutes before you run, you have you had 15 minutes to warm up and you didn't land one of the combos. It's like, oh man, like, you think I'm gonna miss it, like, and then you start overthinking,
Yeah,
and like you need,
catastrophe.
yeah,
So
yeah, you
people
need to block,
catastrophize if that
sabotage,
happens.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You sabotage yourself, and like you need to block those thoughts, because it's gonna destroy your confidence.
Yeah.
Like
So
that
move
happened
on.
to me so many times, man. Like I remember like landing this combo, I don't know, 20 times or 15 times in a row. I'm like, okay, this one is ready. In the contest place, like boom, like letting the other right the right, and I do the combo and I landed it again. This and that, this and that. That was the warming up day,
Yeah.
the free warming up day. Like, yeah, I was landing the combo, the combos. There was one combo I was like, oh man, this combo is the one that I struggled the most. And I'm like, I landed the combo several times. The next day the contest came, and we had 15 minutes to warm up before our runs, and like, man, I couldn't land the combo, and I stay with that in my
This
head.
is the worst, man. This
And
is
I
the
stay with
worst.
that in my head. So I started doing my run, and this combo was like in the middle, or like, yeah, in the middle of my run. And I did everything. I landed everything before that one, and I tried this combo and I fucked it up. Because
Yeah.
I didn't land the combo, because I was sabotaging myself even before being there.
Yeah.
And then, like, it depends of how like how strong you are mentally. You're gonna recover from that. Because like then it's like, once you miss one combo, it's like, should I do it again? But what about if I miss it again?
Yeah, yeah.
What am
Well,
I gonna
dude,
do after?
there's it happens that some people get stuck on the trick because there's kind of a superstitial mindset related to like oh, this is the trick that's gonna earn me something, or that's gonna be like the uh, like the element that's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
make
gonna.
me rise. It could be, but if it's been two times or three times and it's
You
starting
gotta
to
let it
bust
go.
your concentration and your confidence, move on, man, and come back to it later. That's it's good, like, because you were saying that part of your pre contest routine is you're visualizing your set of tricks, but you're not obsessing like, and I really have to do this. It's more like you're refreshing your mind, because sometimes your mind goes blank also on stage, man. This is terrible. This is terrible. I was gonna say terrible and terrifying at the same time, but anyways, it's terrible when it happens. This is the last thing that you want to happen uh during a contest, is your mind going blank. What do I do next? And then you're under pressure, and then you end up like doing
Yeah, and
nothing.
everything just falls down. Like your
Yeah.
breathing, and like I see it more on your breathing. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not, like, for example, something I check usually, if how is the sea level, like the altitude of the country I'm going. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
for example, I'm from Bogota. I'm like, we are really high above the sea level. So like, whenever I go, if I'm training in Bogota, for example, and I have to go somewhere else, it's like I have no problem with like breathing, because I'm gonna be super powerful with my breathing. Because Bogota, for example, is like 3,200 uh, meters above the sea level.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
makes a big difference, man.
like, yeah,
It
you
makes
go
a
there,
huge difference.
it's like, okay, I'm super powerful. I don't even have to think about breathing, because it's like you breathe like you have superpowers. But then that's those those are the things, like, for example, those mistakes is like, well, sometimes when I train, I make sure I have a little plan there, in case something happens. But I don't stay. If I really wanna land the combo, I try twice.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, it depends. It also depends. Like, if I made a mistake at the end of the combo, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's it's gonna, like, let's say this combo was 30 seconds. I'm gonna waste 30 seconds doing the same thing to just land the end of it.
yeah,
Like, so it's like
yeah,
you gotta be also aware of, like, okay, what are you doing? Okay, I didn't do the combo. I made a mistake at the beginning. I have time to try it again. At the entrance of the trick of the combo, I made a mistake. I have time to try it again. But if you are halfway through, and like you're like breathing, and like you are like agitated, and you make the mistake halfway or pass halfway, I would say it's not worth it to try it again, unless it's like the banger. Like that one trick is gonna pump up your run.
yeah. But it should already be like preset in the routine. But I love what you just touched right there, because it's having a set of rules and clear landmarks that are telling you, okay, right now I'm not succeeding with this trick, so I gotta move on, and so I don't become nervous. So if you pretty much scored like almost all of your run, good to go. If that's not the case, you roll, and then maybe later on you'll come back to it if you have enough time at the end of your run. And that's a good way to go. And this is one trick I gave to other riders as well, because sometimes they obsess and then they end up just messing up and not doing much. So you have a preset trick list or combos that you're gonna execute, and when it's been two or three times, man, move on and take a mental note and get back to it at the end, because it's not worth obsessing about that thing, and
Yeah,
it might also mess up your concentration for other things. So you got to be like a bit like cold blooded in that sense, that you go there to execute, it works perfect, thank you, relax, move on to the next trick, execute, works perfect, move on. But if third tricks doesn't work perfect, try it a second time, doesn't work, okay, move on to the next, and move
mm,
on to the next. There's no emotion, it's execution. And
yeah,
then you see, okay, now I got some room, I still got cardio, I still got energy, or they give you like an extra trick, bust it, bust it there. And if you think that something will count for a lot in your run, it should be included like pretty much at the beginning, because you want to pull that and you want to devote a maximum uh,
yeah. What I
of
would say is
energy
also
related.
good to have like short, meaningful tricks. Like if like you're trying the like for example, if you try a combo in a contest run 3 times, I would say it's already way too much. Like three
It's a
times is
lot.
like it's already
Three
way
times
too
is a
much.
lot.
Yeah, so it's like after the second time you going for the third time, it's like you need to make sure you land that thing, and it's gonna give you more pressure.
Yeah,
Like it's gonna give you even more pressure, and like if you don't land this the third time, I would recommend you better have a short combo that is really meaningful, like difficulty and originality, to give you more points, because like at that point, and it's gonna bring back your confidence. Like you
yeah,
need those three teams. It's gonna give you points, it's gonna be short, that is gonna let you recover, right? And then you need to be sure that you're gonna land that combo,
yeah,
because
yeah.
if you don't land it, your run is a disaster. Like,
Or at the very least, like it has to be a trick that makes a strong impact. Like it's an important component of your run. Like that you try it over and over again. Is it has to be meaningful. Otherwise, it's
mhm,
just
yeah,
wasted time and energy. Thanks for your input, man. I appreciate. All right, so we've been already like an hour in. So I'm just gonna share my personal routine. Okay. So there's more material for other people, and everyone can consolidate like all the principles, and I will talk about the effects also after that, and why everyone should have a flow state routine. So this is one thing that I gave uh, in the first program that I released online, and that I also gave to JF and Joris as well before. Just as an example, give them tools, give them an example. JF is applying a lot of this actually, and it's benefiting him a bunch. So I always start, okay, whether it's qualifiers or finals, my routine stays the same, and I usually start preparing maybe 15, 20 minutes ahead of time, even if I touch the bike. At the very least, like 10 minutes before. So I start with the Wim Hof breathing technique, and I do 3 rounds of that, and it helps me cool down and oxygenate my body. So from the get go, I start with like a breathing exercise, and I try to cool down and optimize physical performances. Then right after that, I call it classic joint rotation. So I just rotate my head, rotate my elbows, my wrists, my legs, uh, my knees, my ankles. Like I go through the whole body. So this is waking up all of my limbs. This is also to prevent injuries. I also now I use a bunch of bands, rubber bands, with exercises that I do at the gym. This is still like I don't do the Wim Hof breathing, but the joint rotation is something that I always do at the gym. This is also a way for me to get in the zone at the gym because it's been conditioned for so long. Then when I have access to a bike, I will do pretty much the same as you have. So I go with basic tricks, and I was doing turbines, I was doing rollings on both feet to make sure that the whole body is warmed up, ready to go. And also, if you're dialed with your basics, you're pretty much sure that you're gonna have a good control over the bike. But some guys can pop like Benjamin can pop like some crazy ass runs without warming up. We're all different, but I like to know that I fill my bike first with the basic tricks, and then I'll go through in a similar fashion, go through my contest combos a few times, few cycles, and usually it's gonna last in between maximum 20 to 30 minutes, and I have to ride like pretty soon after that. Otherwise, my body goes it goes cold, and then I have to repeat the process, and it can be quite demanding physically. So you're taking into the bank of uh, you're purging into like the cognitive aspect as well if you over use the body. um, During that 20-30 minutes timeline, a clear landmark for me was to pull my signature trick, the transformer. If I could pull that like 2 or 3 times in a row, that was a clear indicator that my run was going to go well. And I always tried to pull that when I warmed up. And that would be a signal. I'd be, okay, good. I filled my bike. I'm good to go. Then, right after doing that 20 minutes warm up, riding warm up, I'd put a beanie on, I'd put my hoodie on, I'd tuck my shirt in my pants to make sure that no heat is escaping the body, and I stay as warm as possible before I'm going to ride. Usually it's pretty fast, but sometimes it can take up to like, if you have 2 or 3 people riding before you, up to 10 minutes or so. So you got to make sure that you're still warm, because like for all the reasons that we spoke before, uh, a cold body with a stressed mind is just like the worst recipe for a competition. So um, usually, that not usually, but I would go through the same set of thing over and over again every single competition. If I couldn't ride, I would do like plank. I would do push-ups, but I would do like 3 to 5 push-ups. Just get a bit of blood in there, do a bit of lunges, but the goal is just to stay active, stay warm. So that would be my thing if I didn't have access to a bike. Otherwise, we'd start warming up with the bike. But usually, body weight exercises are super well, but don't deplete yourself. That's all I gotta say. And okay, I was not aware. Now we have talked about thanks for sharing all of your routines, domino effect, pre-contest routines. I really appreciate, man. Now that we have covered that, why is it so important, and why do we run like a podcast like this? The reason is the following: you condition that behavior, and you have no idea how powerful it is until I had no idea how powerful it was helping me, and it was like a second nature until I went, like I coached Joris. Was it in 2019 or 2020? I don't recall exactly. Anyways, whatever the timeline was, and I was reminding him of all of those things as we were going through the contest, because he needed all those cues to stay warmed up and like improve his performances and stay in the zone. And I was watching him ride. I was sitting on the chair, and I could feel my body going through every single motion. So the chill thing, I'm listening to more like cool beat. I'm warming up for qualifs. Uh, then it's time to ride, and I could feel like like the alter ego, like the savage, just awakening, and I could feel almost like literally like my blood flow changing, and I was sitting on my chair, dude. It's like it is so powerful, and it is such like a powerful a powerful tool and help when you show up to a contest to have all of this and already rehearsed. That this is why I wanted to touch the subject today, because it is a massive help for contest. It will alleviate a lot of the stress, and it will improve your performances, and that all comes, of course, through consistency and through repetition. I cannot emphasize this enough. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Even if you just go to your spot, rehearse the routines, make sure you dial them, so when you show up there, your mind and your body are primed for performances.
Yeah,
So that's what I wanted to touch today, man. And I really appreciate that you dared stepping into the spotlight and sharing all this information with us, man.
yeah, man. Thanks to you, man. It's like for me, the most important thing is being like awareness. Like being aware of whatever you. Because I was doing stuff before, as I said before, and it's like, and I was never aware of it. But then I, like last time in Peru last year, I had a really decent last run on the finals,
Yeah.
and I felt this fire, man. After like I landed my run, I did my run. I was like, I just wanted to eat the world. Like my body was super warm. I was on fire, man, and I was
Yeah.
like, and I remember the feeling of being super focused and like super under control on my movements during my run, that I was like, wow, this is like, it's been a while since I felt like this, like. And I did some stuff for that one, because I prepared really good for it, but I didn't prepare properly, like as I'm doing right now. I had my routine to like during the contest and this and that, but well, we had like 3 days there because it was going by the UCI rules. So
Yeah.
this was like a South American contest organized by the Peruvian Federation.
Yep.
So it was a C1 contest, and it has all the rules in it, like by groups and like the time, and like I think they had on this one. I think there was no warming up time before you run,
Yeah.
but there was like a warming up area right next to the stage, so you could go right. But man, the floor on the warming up area was just disaster. No,
Yeah.
like you don't want to warm up in a place where like you're gonna lose your confidence. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Which
it's
is
just,
not gonna
I'd
help you.
rather not, just not to touch the bike and just do something else and focus somewhere else. Because it's like you don't want to go to a floor where you cannot do like a steam roller or something like that. It's not worth it. So it's better just to stay still and like be focused on whatever you have to do.
Yeah. And You touched an interesting point as well. Like you had a nice performance, and I think that not enough people take notes. So for anyone listening, who have made it this far, take notes. When something works, jot it down and make sure that you repeat it. Not like in a superstitious fashion. Like I said, it's conditioning. You integrate that into a routine that you always apply, and you maximize your chances. It's not like a fail safe mechanism that is always going to work, but you make sure that you get everything that can help you before performing under pressure.
Yeah,
So take notes, jot it down on your phone, computer, on a piece of paper,
and I
whatever.
would say, oh yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, no, it's okay. I was just saying take notes.
Yeah, yeah, and I would say now that you touched that part of like taking notes is like what I've done before is I've been checking other sports, like skaters, like tennis, for example, and like I've been like investigating about like their process before a contest, for example. Like
Yeah,
you see, skaters, the format they have is like, man, they go and they need to land this crazy trick first try, and these guys go and like I don't understand anything about skate, but I see like it's the same process that I see on their faces. They've been through the same process I'm going through when I have to ride for a contest, and
yeah,
it's good to have like to understand their mindset before like the contest, because you see like the way flatland is turning right now is like, man, it's becoming more professional in in the way that like your body and the way you take care of yourself is totally different, especially if you're like 30 years old and like you have 18 years old kid doing these crazy tricks, right? So you want to have like the best condition for a contest to be able to do stuff like that. So like you see, for example, tennis players, how you ask yourself is like how these guys stay 4 hours or 5 hours playing tennis,
yeah,
you know, and it's really tough because they're like stopping and then doing it again every time, so it's like your body gets super warm up, get to a point when it's super like pumped up, and then stop again, and then you gotta wait for the other one, so that makes your body really tired. So like for me, I was checking like how these guys get ready for like strength and resistance to play a game of 4 hours, and then you
yeah,
see, you look at some of them, they have like it's public, they have, because some of them they keep it secretly, but you see some of them, they're like, okay, during the week they work two times during the week, resistance, you know and then some other ones is cardio, only 1 day cardio, and then they split everything that way. So it's like really interesting to check how everything works in other sports, and it help you, like
yeah.
I
You can definitely learn from
yeah,
other athletes as well, and like that's one of the dimension I think in BMX might be lacking, although less and less. But there's more like the of a professional touch, because if you observe in a lot of sports, like people periodize, so they have a schedule, they know exactly what they're gonna do, they know exactly which amount of what they're gonna do. Like they make sure they get good sleep, they have a lot of professionals, they like their nutrition is on top, like they're followed by a lot of people, and this is currently lacking, I think, at least for like
yeah,
the majority of riders. Like Red Bull athletes, for example, are followed up to the max. They have access to that, and good for them. But for the rest, I think there's a lot of
yeah,
conversations to be had on the topic, which could bring like more of the professional aspect into it, because it does play in the bank. It does play on your performances, and if you observe a lot of the top guys, they all have a regimen, they all disciplined, they keep all of those things in check. They not gonna party before a contest, they're not gonna party before the finals. Like there's a whole set of things to observe.
Yeah,
There's a way to eat. Everyone is different once again, but when you bring attention to it, everyone is following like a
yeah, like
certain
taking
protocol.
care routine there, like of the body, like the thing is that the sport is going through like a different is going through like a changing process, like back in the days I remember people were freestyle, like you just go there and do your thing and like you party and like like now you see like the riders are really focused on taking care of like whatever they eat and like to be because it gives you like this push, having your body on good conditions. It gives you a push like
Yeah.
to perform in a better way,
Yeah, and also, um, like it used to be more marginal, so BMX was associated with something different when I first started, and I was also a different person. But now you look like at the level of tricks and what is accessible and what the kids are doing nowadays, or not even the kids. Like I'm thinking about you, I'm thinking about I'm thinking in terms of like technical development. Like there's an edge that you can only get when you observe certain things, because otherwise you just cannot have access to it. You cannot, or you cannot sustain that, even less like under harsh conditions at a contest. So hey man, um, once again, thanks a lot for your time and attention. We're gonna bring this to a close. Don't be surprised, by the way. This we're cutting when I click leave. This is gonna end the conversation. So I'm just gonna say thanks ahead of time. Can you please tell us your Instagram handle? I'm gonna jot it down in the description down below as I always do. But where can we find you online?
well, online I'm on Instagram. It's Juan C Niebles. Facebook, but I'm not really into it. But like you can find me as Juan Camilo Niebles as well. And
Perfect.
soon I'm gonna be working on YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
Like sharing some content over there. I'm gonna touch some topics, interesting topics over there. So I'm gonna be posting more tricks and like related to my progress on the bike. So I'm gonna be working on some content on YouTube.
Nice.
Not like
Nice, man.
super blogging stuff, but like interesting topics.
Perfect. So, hey, just send me all those details. Your Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channel. If it's already there, I'll post the link down below. I'll make sure that people hit your channel if they want to hire you for shows, or they want to get in touch with you because you're badass at riding BMX and you're an awesome human being. So I'll put people in contact with you. So once again, thanks a lot. Thanks to everyone uh, who made it all the way. If there's anyone, just write down in the comment section that you made it all the way. An hour and a half. It's long, but we share a lot of really cool details in here. And let me know who you would like to see next on the podcast, or what you'd like to hear about. So thanks to you, man, and thanks to everyone.
Yes,
Until
sir.
next time.
Thank
Bye.
you.